I am for sure going to be getting a lot of negative comments in this video, but I do think this needs to be said. If you're someone who breaks the terms of service for Pokemon Go, I do think you need to stop doing that right now. Alright, how's it going everyone? Jinsula here with a brand new Pokemon Go video. I hope your day is going really well, and let's get right into it. So when it comes to spoofing, when it comes to using maps to get 100% IVs in a lot of different ways players break the terms of service, this is something that has been commonplace for several years now. I pretty much feel like Niantic has always had this opinion of doing the best they can to combat cheaters, but at the end of the day, they haven't really done much. I feel like for them, it's not a high priority. Maybe I'm completely wrong there, but it just seems like they haven't really done much to curb spoofing and using maps, and I really do not know what other players do to break the terms of service. Maybe multi-accounting, or I don't know, like sharing accounts. There's a lot of ways that players break the terms of service, and for several years now, it seems like a lot of that stuff has just slipped through the cracks. Players just do it on a daily basis. But with Niantic selling Pokemon Go and all of their games to Scopely Inc., a lot of that might start changing. I feel like with Scopely Inc., they might potentially start cracking down on spoofers and, people who breaks the terms of service, mainly because, to them, that's going to cut into their profits. They want players to buy remote raid passes. They do not want players to just simply spoof to whatever gym in order to do those raids. They want players to spend money on the game. And because of that, I do foresee that maybe they're going to go after cheaters hard just because they want to earn that extra dollar. So yeah, I think this is a bit of a warning. I do think that for people who break the terms of service, maybe they got really comfortable doing it because Niantic hasn't done much against it. I think a lot of those players may start getting banned, and I do foresee a lot of people getting banned because of Scopely Inc. It's definitely a possibility. We really do not know. There's a lot of discussions happening online right now regarding whether or not Scopely Inc. is going to change anything with Pokemon Go. There was a few content creators that was able to speak directly with Niantic regarding the sale, and it seems like the sentiment is that Niantic is going to remain the same. That Scopely Inc., their intentions is to just let Niantic continue to do what they do. I really doubt that. I have a lot of doubts that the game is going to remain the same after Scopely Inc. fully takes over. I do predict that there's going to be a lot of major changes, and one of the major changes is likely that they're going to crack down on spoofers, people who use maps, people who account share, people who use multi-accounts. I'm not to say that this is all just fear-mongering. I know a lot of people will take it that way. I just wanted to warn you that I have seen stuff like that in the past. I've seen game studios get taken over by a bigger company or another company, and then immediately one of the first things they do is crack down on cheaters really hard. I really do think that is in the cards with Scopely taking over Pokemon Go. I do think that a lot of players are going to be taken for surprise. Maybe they've been spoofing for the past, 4 or 5 years without issue. And all of a sudden, they're going to find that all of the work that they put into those accounts are going to be lost because, Scopely is going to come in and just completely ban all spoofers. Who knows? But I really do think for anyone who likes to engage in that sort of gameplay, they're going to be in trouble. I personally believe that is going to be the case. Now, I think another discussion has to be made on whether or not they would even have the capacity or the capability to actually ban spoofers. Like, I think a lot of people believe the reason why Niantic hasn't gone down hard on cheaters is because they have a really hard time detecting cheaters, that they do not know if players are spoofing, if they do not know if players are using multiple accounts, or if players are, sharing accounts between different people. I think they do have the ability. I do think that for a majority of people, they may not be aware that Niantic is fully aware that they are cheating. I think it's definitely something that I have heard internally, but again, I feel like it just comes down to they just do not prioritize it as much as a lot of the other things related to Pokemon Go. So I think there is a lot of things we have to consider regarding what the future is going to be like for Pokemon Go under Scopely Inc. I think for a lot of people, maybe this is a time for them to quit the game. Maybe they just do not agree with Scopely Inc. Maybe they just feel like this is the final nail in the coffin for them to quit Pokemon Go. I don't know. It really depends on the player. It really depends on you, like how you feel about everything going on with Niantic getting sold to Scopely Inc. If you're someone who cheats, if you're someone who uses spoofing or multi-accounting, different things like that, I think you really have to take a deep look at whether or not you want to keep playing the game. I personally feel like the game is so much better without cheating. I never used spoofing apps in my life. I do not care for it. I feel like based on everything that I've seen and heard about spoofing gameplay, it just seems incredibly boring to me. Like, there's going to be players out there who love spoofing. They feel like that's what unlocks the game for them. And I totally understand that because Niantic has obviously not done much for rural players. And anytime they do something for rural players, like, I don't know, make incense a lot better or the remote raid pass, they end up nerfing them and making the gameplay really difficult for rural players once again. So if you're someone who lives in a rural area, I totally understand why you would spoof. But at the same time, personally for me, I just feel like it's not enjoyable. The idea of it just doesn't make sense. Because if you're playing Pokemon Go, yeah, it does require you to do a lot of effort to go out and play, but I just feel like with the game as it currently is, there's no need to spoof. There really isn't. And for a lot of players, they might disagree with me on that, and I totally understand that. But yeah, if you are someone who spoofs, you have to take a really close, hard look at this sale to Scopely Inc. You have to understand the risks that are going to be attributed to that. I think a lot of players are going to get banned. I think Scopely Inc. is going to go in there and be like, hey, all these spoofers, they're cutting into our revenue, so let's do something about them. I do think that is definitely a possibility. A lot of spoofers will make the argument that they're the reason why Pokemon Go is still alive. I firmly disagree with that. I think Pokemon Go would be doing a lot better if there were no spoofers, and the reason why I say that is because of remote raid passes, as well as just in general, if you're going around spoofing every single Pokemon that you could ever want, there really is no reason for you to play long term. You know, you're going to get everything pretty much instantly. There's no delayed gratification. So for Niantic, that means longevity is an issue. Engagement is an issue. So I think for a lot of players who spoof, they do not realize that because of them, Niantic is probably losing some money. Not a lot of money, probably, per se, but they're probably not earning as much revenue as they could potentially do. And I think Scopely Inc. will totally recognize that. And with Scopely Inc. purchasing this company for $3.5 billion, they're going to want that paid back very quickly. And I think they're going to do whatever it takes to get that money back very quickly. And that could mean banning all spoofers. So yeah, I just wanted to share these thoughts. I'm not someone who ever condones or condemns spoofing or cheating of any kind. I've certainly broken the terms of service in the past, you know. That's a bit of an admission. Don't ban my account, Niantic. I try to play as clean as possible nowadays. But, you know, it is one of those things where it's like, I feel like every single Pokemon Go player at one point has broken the terms of service. Maybe they weren't even aware that they're breaking the terms of service, and they probably did. But as of right now, it's going to be something that we will have to pay attention to. It will be something that we do have to watch out for. Scopely Inc. could come in and just start banning people left and right. People will say that it's not going to be good for the game if they do that. I disagree. I think they're going to be fully aware that people who spend boatloads of money in this game, they're going to continue to do so, and they're the ones that are going to drive up the revenue, and they would have a much cleaner experience for those players. They would much rather provide an experience where newer players are going to come in and they're going to spend additional dollars on remote raid passes rather than going off and just spoofing to raids. And yeah, I do think that it is something that just makes sense to me, that Scopely Inc. is just going to go really hard on spoofers. But I could be completely wrong. I could be completely off base here, and that's totally okay. I'm just sharing my opinions, just my speculation. We really do not know what's going to happen once Scopely Inc. takes over Pokemon Go. It could be something where the game could just regress. Maybe they're going to include a paid spoofing option. I could totally see that happening too. Like, hey, if players are spoofing in this game, why not charge them to do it? And then we'll just have them do it without ever worrying about getting banned. That is definitely a possibility. I do think that is a possibility. So, you know, it is, we're in a bit of a wait and see moment right now. And I totally think that for a lot of players, you know, they're probably feeling the same way. We do not know how things are going to be. And yeah, at the very least, if you're someone who likes to break the terms of service of Pokemon Go because that's the way you enjoy the game, I think it's time for you to take a close, hard look at whether or not you want to continue playing, because I do think that Scopely Inc. is going to start banning spoofers and cheaters and different things like that. So in any case, yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Let me know your thoughts down below regarding everything that I talked about. Again, I do foresee that there's going to be a lot of negative comments. I do think there's going to be a lot of players who think I'm just fear-mongering, or there's going to be players out there who are going to be really unhappy at the thought that I just do not support spoofing, or there's going to be a lot of spoofers out there who are just going to be really pissed off that I'm saying stuff like this because they do not want to give Scopely Inc. ideas, you know, and they're going to feel like, you know, they're living in their own world, their own reality, that they're the ones keeping Pokemon Go alive. I've certainly seen and heard that so many times, and I just do not believe it. But yeah, there's going to be people who are going to be commenting that, so I'm okay with it. Definitely share all your thoughts down below, regardless if it's very critical, regardless if it's in support of everything that I'm saying. I really do not care how you feel about the issues. I just want to hear your thoughts, and then we can have a great discussion. That way, you know, that'll be a great way for Scopely Inc. to gauge how the players are actually feeling. So yeah, but that's it. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of this video. If you found this to be very insightful, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if it's your first time here, and also don't forget that notification bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And real quick, let me give a shout out to all of my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support my channel, the best way you could do that is going to be by joining my Patreon. And if you choose to do that, I'm going to add you to my Pokemon Go friends list. So that means for stuff like remote raids and the friendship system, you know, opening and sending gifts. If you want to play Pokemon Go with me, then make sure you go and check out my Patreon, and I'll put a link to that in the description below. And if you want to support my channel in a completely different way, you can do so by following me on social media. My handle is @Jinsula. I'm on the platforms that you see on the bottom of your screen. Make sure you go over there and give me a follow. And with that said, that's going to be it for this video. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself today, and I'll catch you all later.